Do 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 do. Hello there. Welcome back to some more quality time with Anxiety Acclaim. I'm bringing you some Draven destruction, some Draven annihilation in a normal game, where this Blitzcrank carries me for the first 10 minutes of lane phase. And also, I just want to give a big shout out to the Bard on the enemy team. I'm pretty sure he's done some work for charity, probably some charities in Africa, because he feeds so hard, like, it makes me proud to see somebody like that committed to feeding. Like, I've fed like that before without trying to, but this guy, he wasn't even trying to, and he even fed harder than I did, so props to him. Showing real great strength, real great, like, bounce back right there. He wants to feed, he wants to help. He's just a great guy. Alright, without further ado, I really don't have a topic for today's video, so I'm just gonna muse, discuss random things. Hopefully you'll find them funny. Hopefully I'll find them funny so I get something out of this next half an hour of talking to myself in a empty room. So, alright kids, let's kick it off. Now, the big story dominating the news cycle is that Republican frontrunner Donald Trump is more or less the official candidate that will represent the Republican Party in the general elections in the fall. So unless the Republican establishment pulls some shenanigans that would make Frank Underwood proud and somehow pry the nomination away from Trump's orange meme-laced hands, we are literally going to see a Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton election for the American presidency. Just let that sink in for a moment. Now, I know some people are, like, doom and gloom about it. The rational part of me understands his sentiment completely. On one hand, you got a guy who has absolutely no political experience and basically says whatever the fuck he wants, which I find quite sexy. And on the other hand, you probably have the most corrupt politician in the history of corrupt politicians. On top of that, you have the other social factors to consider, where Hillary is running to become the first woman president. Now, she's going to tout that a lot. She's going to use that to fundraise. She's going to use that in pretty much every campaign stump speech. So here's what I propose. If Hillary can more or less use her gender to campaign, when like people vote in the electoral, it didn't sound very electable there. College votes, Hillary should only get 7/10 of a vote for every vote that she gets. I want her to feel the gender wage gap politically, considering that she's probably never felt like any type of hardships, stress, suffering. She's a goddamn Clinton, for Christ's sake. I mean, she's like, oh my god, I'm a woman in the halls of politics. Yes, you're also a Clinton in the halls of politics. The entire wing of the Democrat Party is bought and paid for by Clinton money. I mean, really. Now, on the other hand, you have El Trumpo, the Trump one, the Trump card, Donald Trump. Now, Trump says some pretty outrageous and offensive shit, and I agree that he probably shouldn't say most of the things that he says. But think about it. He's just such a fucking meme machine. I don't think he's gonna be stopped. Like, imagine the very first debate, Trump versus Hillary. Hillary gets up there, she starts, cawing away, and of course Anderson Cooper is gonna be moderating, because, who else would moderate general election debates but Anderson Cooper? He's gonna be like, okay, candidates, talk about your healthcare policy. And Hillary would be like, yo, I'm just gonna do what Obama did. And then she'll turn to the audience and be like, you guys like that, right? Like, the cool black guy thing? Am I allowed to invoke the cool black guy thing? Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Bill's ancestors owned some cool black guys, so I guess we're gonna go with it. And then, the question's gonna swing back over to Trump. Anderson Cooper's gonna be like, okay, Trump, what's your healthcare policy? Trump's gonna lean over. He's gonna make eye contact with Hillary. And he's going to destroy her. He's gonna straighten his tie. He's gonna stand tall. He's gonna be like, Hillary, who didn't get healthcare? The Americans who died at Benghazi. Right, and then you're gonna hear the MLG horn sound, ow, ow, ow. Right, the entire audience is gonna go, oh, oh. Right, and then both Trump and Hillary are gonna get actually flash teleported out of there to Rust, and Hillary's gonna be on the ground, and Trump is gonna jump off the top of Rust, the map from Modern Warfare 2, do a 360 YY no scope, take down Hillary, and that's it. That's how he's gonna win the presidency. I come from the future. I just thought, people would want to know that. I don't know if that's really gonna catch on big. Like, spoilers are unavoidable on the internet these days. So if you didn't want me to, spoil that general election result for you, you should have stayed off the internet, man. Sorry, it's not my fault that, Trump's vice president dies. It's not my fault that Let's see what else is a big movie spoiler that everybody pasted fucking everywhere today. That like Trump and Hillary's mother's names are both Martha. I'm sorry, man, it's just out there. But of course, we've talked about Trump and Hillary a lot. We can't forget the ever wonderful candidates that made this election such a fucking mess. Now let's talk about our comrade, our leader, the revolutionary, Bernie Sanders. Now, kids, if you don't know what socialism is, imagine you make $5. Imagine you worked all day and you made $5. I started home doing bullshit like this, and I probably made $5 too. We both made $5, but you did more work than I did. Now I'd probably make you, like, pretty pissed off, and you probably would stop working, therefore harming the local economy because you're not producing goods or services. Meanwhile, I get to stay home, meme about, be a jackass, and post videos of myself being a jackass on YouTube, do some sweet, sexy Draven ADC gameplay, and I still did the same amount as you. Now, if you're wondering why Bernie caught on so much with this basic reality, keep one thing in mind. He told his constituents and his voters that they didn't have to work to get the shit that they wanted, and he was just gonna give it to them. Now, I really don't blame people for following that, Like, could you imagine? Like, you go to the store, and there are 2 aisles, and, like, one aisle is, like, the establishment, politicians, and you have, like, you have some cereal with you, you have, like, some bananas, you have some nice fucking doing Doritos, the good old standby, and then at the cashier of one aisle is, let's see, Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan's just chilling there, cashiering, right? Stealthily telling people to vote for him for the presidency, even though he says he doesn't want it. He's like, yo, come to my aisle, come pay for those things that you've bought. And you got Bernie chilling over, like, if Paul Ryan's at aisle 4, and you got Bernie over at aisle, like, 18 over there. And he's like, hello, comrade, come over here. I will scan all of your goods, and then I will give you a coupon, and you will not have to pay for anything, right? I'd go to Bernie's aisle personally. I wouldn't really think twice about that shit, so I get where people are coming from there. The problem, however, lies in the fact that when you go to Bernie's aisle, you learn that coupon was paid for by the funds from your wallet. Like, you'd probably be like, alright, Bernie, where's the coupon? He'd be like, yes, give me $200 and I will show you what a coupon is. And then you would be like, Bernie, I don't think that's free. But anyway, I digress. And also, just the fact that Bernie's been compared to a Bolshevik so much, like, we've gotten some good memes out of him. I think he's done his service to the internet. My personal favorite is that, Bernie Sanders thinks that the movie Miracle on Ice is a horror movie as opposed to a great American, triumph. Let's see. Oh, yes. Yes. Lion Ted Cruz. He burned out magnificently. Like, I don't think I've ever... Well, there was Jeb Bush, but still. He was ahead in Indiana by 20 points, and Trump beat him there by 15 points yesterday. Now, kids, if you don't follow politics, that is absolutely fucking destruction. Like, Trump went to town on that man. Like, that's a 7-0 Germany over Brazil in Brazil, right there. That's what Trump did to Lion Ted Cruz. Now, people are wondering, like, where does Ted Cruz go from here? Well, I personally believe that the added stress of the campaign cycle, coupled with the shock that he just lost the presidency, that, well, it was a presidency bid, that at one point looked like it could be his, is gonna, like, shake him from his, pedestrian day-to-day activity. It's gonna break his psyche, and it's gonna bring out the darkness inside of him. 2 weeks from now is the California primary. I think that Ted Cruz is gonna revert. He's gonna become the Zodiac Killer again. Like, you're gonna see it in the newspapers. Zodiac Killer strikes. Instead of leading Zodiac Cypher, leaves Ted Cruz campaign flyer. Yeah, you're gonna see that happening. I know it's unfortunate, but I really do think Ted Cruz is gonna have to go back and be the Zodiac Killer. So we're gonna have to do what they should have done back then. We're gonna have to hire Scooby-Doo to track him down. And we all know Scooby-Doo is pretty reckless. He thinks himself above the law, but when it comes to getting shit done, Scooby-Doo will bring the bad guys in. The bad guys will probably have some bruises. Maybe a few of them don't make it in alive. But Scooby motherfucking Doo and his whole posse, his whole gang there, they get the job done. Probably the most effective vigilantes in today's American canon. Now that's enough about politics. Maybe you don't follow politics. Or maybe you don't find the shit show that they've become as amusing as I do. Let's go to something that everybody loves and that I personally love. Let's talk about sports. Now, one of the biggest major sports stories, not just a segue between sports and politics, we're going to talk about a sports story that touched upon sports and politics. is last week Kurt Schilling came out against Transformers being allowed to use the bathrooms at targets. Now, I know it's a pretty controversial topic. People think that, like, if you're a tranny, you should be able to, like, do what you want, but I personally agree with him. I don't think Megatron should be able to be, like, peeing with my daughter. I'm sorry, but if you're a Transformer, then, well, your Morven meets the eye. I'm not really comfortable with having my kids go in there taking a piss while you're changing your oil in a stall. And if you're a male Transformer, you have an exhaust, and if you're a female, you have a tailpipe. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm seeing. Like, I saw Starfire the other day, and he had a tailpipe belt. I was like, well, whose taxpayer dollars paid for that surgery? But I digress. So for coming out against, these giant metal robots in the incorrect bathrooms, Kurt Schilling was fired from ESPN, and he was like, alright, yeah, fire me. You can't do jack shit. My legacy's intact. But ESPN was like, oh, no, it's not. And yeah, they edited all 17 minutes of Kurt Schilling's footage out of the documentary ESPN 3030 about the Red Sox 4-0 comeback when they were down 3-0 to the Yankees in the 2004 ALCS, which is probably one of the better documentaries they've made. So yeah, they went full fucking Orwell on Kurt Schilling. Now, personally, I found that kind of funny, but they would just, like, that's how you deal with your problems these days. Just delete it. It's like he was never there. Nobody's gonna remember him. But also, just a few other things about Kurt Schilling. Well, I think Kurt Schilling was a great player, and I think he added some decent analysis to his sportscasting. Yeah, he still owes the people of Rhode Island, him and his video game company that he set up there. He still owes them millions. Like, he was pulling some shady shit when he worked there. He was cooking the books. He had a video game company that Rhode Island paid them to be there, like the development studios. What game did they make? Let's see. I bought it. It was pretty good. Oh yeah, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. Now, it got kind of panned when it came out by critics. I don't really know why. I thought it was pretty good. Like, it wasn't amazing, but came out at the very tail end of Skyrim's initial release. And if you remember, Skyrim changed the way people thought about RPGs for 6 months, and then they realized, maybe if I want to put skill points in pickpocketing, that's easier than pickpocketing 300 or so guards around the various cities in this open map. So I think it may have been hurt a little bit by that. But yeah, Kurt Schilling's a bit of a fraud. But at the same time, man, come on, ESPN. I don't want to shit next to Bumblebee. I just want to make that clear. Like, the public actually took Kurt Schilling's side. Like, Target stock has crashed faster than Optimus Prime after, that major battle in, I think, the 4th Transformers movie there. So we'll have to see where this goes. Like, it's pretty interesting, the sports figure interjecting himself into politics. Like, usually that never goes well. And I don't really think he's going to go well for anyone involved here either, but hey, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Oh, and also I got this alert about an hour and a half ago on my phone. Johnny Football finally, well, it looks like he's finally going to be getting a QB job as the next quarterback starring in The Longest Yard. He can be on the prison team with Ray Rice, Aaron Hernandez. They can, all chill in that cell that was reserved for Ray Lewis, even though Ray Lewis got off on a plea deal. Yeah, so apparently he was booked and he posted bond in a DV case. I mean, really, what else is new? An NFL player beating their wife. I am absolutely shocked and astounded that some NFL player could ever think that they could do that and get away with it. Truly new stuff right there. But yeah, so Johnny Manziel, let's see, yeah, he faces a Class A misdemeanor that carries up to a year in jail and a $4,000 fine. But NFL's got to go after the guys deflating those footballs. Like whether or not you actually think he did it, like that. The Manziel thing proves they have bigger shit to worry about, man. Like, he was one of their young big stars. He came into the league and, well, he burned out faster than Ryan Leaf. If you don't know who Ryan Leaf is, exactly. If you do know who Ryan Leaf is, exactly. But yeah, so Johnny Manziel and Josh Gordon probably doing cocaine and shrooms one night. He went home, he beat his wife. He was like, I have to beat somebody. I need to win at one point. And then, his wife was or girlfriend, I guess, probably not married at this point. I'd imagine that she, wasn't even hurt. I imagine all his punches, went wide or were intercepted by, another family member. But I'd imagine after all the bullshit he's caused during this off-season, she wants to break up with him, and, getting a police report filed against him is the easiest way to break up with somebody. It's like dying in League. Like, dying is the quickest way to go back to the fountain and shop. It's all about optimizing the situation at hand. So, yeah, those poor Browns fans. They're gonna add another name on that QB graveyard list. With, let's see, how many can I name? Couch. Tim Couch. No, Bernie Kosar was successful, so I can't name him. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Oh yeah, no, they had Brian Coyer. They had that one Journey Castaway guy this year who was decent in Tampa Bay. Forget his name. They had Brady Quinn. Brady Quinn was good for 5 games, and then it all went downhill. But yeah, the fact that I can't remember any of these fuckers' names pretty much illustrates the problem with the Browns QB job. It's like being an ADC in this meta. It's like you're not gonna win. You're just gonna get jumped on by guys bigger and badder than you while you sit there and be useless. Alright, so moving on from old Johnny Foosball. It seems that the NBA world is gearing up for a huge historic, like, you know, playoff series between D Wade and LeBron James. Now, as you know, multiple years ago, LeBron made the decision that everybody else makes to get the fuck out of Cleveland while he still can, and he went down south, just like everybody else, to Miami, along with Dwayne Wade and this other guy who I think his name was Chris Bush. Yeah, Chris Bush. I'm pretty sure he was Jeb's nephew. Jeb got him to play for the Miami Heat when he was still governor. Yeah, I don't think he was really relevant to the story, so I'm not gonna mention him at all during the rest of this commentary. So LeBron and D Wade are down there, LeBron becomes probably the most hated player in the NBA during that period. Dwayne Wade just quietly put his head down, coached the Heat while Eric Spoelstra sat there and was like, okay guys, this is the play we're running, and all the Heat players would be like, yeah, okay Eric, and they'd go out on the court and do whatever the fuck they wanted to. And if I remember correctly, they won 2 championships. Yeah, they got there twice. They lost once at the beginning. Then they beat the Spurs once, I think. And then they beat the Mavericks. I'll have to triple check that. Put in the comments if I got that wrong. I'm gonna have to triple check that. And then, 2 years ago they bowed out. They got destroyed by the Spurs in the finals. And at that point, LeBron was like, you know what? Everybody hates me. I need to do something about it. And he's like, you know what? Mama, I'm going home. I made Cleveland cry. They wanted me die. The whole thing became a messy goodbye. Cleveland, I'm coming home. So yeah, he put on some Ozzy Osbourne in his car. Drove all the way back out there. He's like, yo guys, I'm back. And they regarded him, as you would expect, as the fucking Messiah. Gonna return to make Ohio great again and usurp John Kasich. So his first year there, the Cavaliers went out to the Warriors in the NBA Finals. They pretty much did as good as they could. Like LeBron carried them to I think 1 or 2 wins. And I hadn't seen somebody carry a team that much since the fucking legend, the savage, the amazing player himself, Allen Iverson. If you remember, I believe it was for 2002 or 2003. I think it was the 2003 finals and the 2002 to 2003 NBA season. Yeah, that would make sense because it would end in 03 and that's what the finals were. Allen Iverson and a broken, decrepit, aging, inexperienced, flat out bad 76ers team. He carried them all the way to the finals against Kobe Bryant's Lakers when they were pretty much on top of the world, absolutely wrecking everyone. Game 1 in LA. Tons of press, tons of media. Everybody's making their prediction. 4-0 sweep for the Lakers. 4-0 sweep for the Lakers. The Lakers are going to take it. GG easy, right? Iverson goes out there, absolutely becomes a monster, scores a fuck ton of points. 76ers take game 1 in Los Angeles. Now, of course, after that, it was like Carly Rae Jepsen's, music career. It was all downhill from that first big hit. But it just goes to show that one player really can make a difference in basketball. That's the nature of the game. Just like war. One leader can make a big difference. And Hearthstone. But anyway. Moving on. So yeah, LeBron versus D Wade has sent the entire NBA world into a tizzy. I'm pretty sure ESPN's gonna fucking cream themselves daily knowing that they're gonna get to cover both LeBron and D Wade and the Heat all in one package. Oh, and also LeBron's doing Space Jam, so I think he has to win automatically. Actually, you know what? That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna go to a Game 7 in Cleveland. Right? The Heat are going to jump up to this huge early lead in the first half. It's looking like they're going to just take him down. LeBron's going to fail again. Everybody's going to cry. But then, the second half, LeBron's going to come out all Space Jammed up, all cartooned up. He's going to grow these huge arms. He's going to grow these huge legs. He's gonna jump up for the ball to tip off. He's gonna be like, zippity doo dah, zippity a. And he'll get reprimanded by Disney because everybody forgets that the origins of that movie are actually extremely racist in nature and involve the subjugation and oppression of a black man as he tries to do his job in a meadow, and he's subjected to various tortures for the amusement of the young white folk. But anyway, on a lighter note, Disney will probably step in and be like, yeah, no, you can't do this. You have to pick off from one of our other properties, and he'll be like, fine. And try and whip out his lightsaber, but of course lightsabers are banned in the NBA collective bargaining agreement as to clause intergalactic play section 6279. And so then he'll have to settle for option 3, which is Marvel. Have to become the Incredible Hulk, just smash the fuck out of everyone, smash the arena, dunk on fools, and win. But that's also how 2003's Hulk by Ang Lee should have gone. But hey, we got something decently close to that in 2008 with the Incredible Hulk. So I digress. But yeah, just to wrap that up seriously, the NBA is fucking pumped. They're gonna get LeBron versus D-Wade. They're gonna get this huge storyline. They're gonna promote the fuck out of it. So if you watch sports channels or if you watch channels that like air the NBA playoffs or various different sports coverage shows, be prepared because you're gonna get hit with a lot of LeBron and a lot of D-Wade. Now, let's look at a parallel case in the NHL, where the NHL got lucky where they got their LeBron versus Dwayne Wade, or at least, well, not their LeBron versus Dwayne Wade, but they got two star players in the history clashing, more inexplicably linked. They got Crosby and his Pittsburgh Penguins against Alexander Ovechkin's Washington Capitals. Now, the Penguins and the Capitals both looked pretty strong in their opening rounds. Capitals did drop 2 games at the end there to the Flyers before finally closing them out, while the Penguins looked completely in control against the Rangers. And then if you're wondering, why the NHL wants this so badly, it's because this rivalry was brewing for a while and it's actually supposed to be fucking huge. You see, Ovechkin and Crosby both taken #1 overall, and I believe Crosby was strapped here. Oh yeah, Crosby was 2005 because I remember the Penguins picked #1 overall 2 out of 3 years, but the Capitals got Ovechkin in 04, and then after Ovechkin, the Penguins got Crosby, and that was hyped up as the next big, rivalry. This big, these two players were gonna lead their teams into the next generation and be completely, totally dominant. Now, at the outset, that looks like it could be happening. Washington, they drafted Nicholas Backstrom, and they had some very strong years early on with coach Bruce Boudreau, where they would dominate people in the regular season, as did Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh ends up going to the Stanley Cup Finals back-to-back years in 08 and 09. And ironically, this depth player Max Talbot scores more goals, scores bigger goals than Crosby, but hey, that's beside the point. And yeah, so that's how it looked. But however, just like Destiny, after the first few times, shit fell apart. So the Capitals choked in the playoffs a lot from 09 basically up until now. This is the first time they really look like a force to be reckoned with, and Ovechkin has a team that he can lead. After the Penguins won the Cup in 2009, the dominance of the Chicago Blackhawks took hold, and the Penguins kind of fell off a little bit. Crosby even had superstar center Evgeny Malkin, and he had James Neal at one point, but they never really got over the hump. The closest they got before now was 2013. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they were 4-0'd and pretty much decimated by the Boston Bruins in a very tightly defensive strategy that the Bruins employed. But they're both the faces of today's game. They've been put on pretty much every fucking marketing, merchandising, video game. Every opportunity to promote those two fuckers the NHL has taken. They've wanted this rivalry to happen pretty much, well, forever. Even back in the 80s when, nobody knew who these two players were, and they probably weren't even, conceived yet, they would be talking, alright, Gretzky looks pretty good, we gotta clear some airtime to, air, ads for Crosby and Ovechkin, because that's all we do. Yeah, those brutal ESPN days when ESPN had the, rights to air hockey, and they never would, and every time they had to due to contractual obligation, that was all it ever was. Alright, let's check in on Crosby, let's see what Crosby's doing. Let's see what Ovechkin's doing. They would rather play the same highlights from those two than spotlight any new teams. It was fucking sad, man. Feels sad, man. But then NBC took the rights to broadcast hockey from them, and now we're all good. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting how, the NBA has LeBron versus Dwayne Wade, and how the NHL has Crosby versus Ovechkin. How both those things, like, you know, stars have fallen as a line for their respective leagues who have wanted those matchups, wanted to promote the fuck out of them, and basically wanted to showcase their brand with those players as the centerpiece. Just thought it was kind of cool. Just like my snowman. That didn't have any context. I just wanted to make that, you know, awful dumb joke. Alright, so we've talked about sports a lot, and we've talked about politics a lot. Now let's talk about something that everybody loves. Entertainment. That's why you're watching me. Don't know why you chose to watch me for entertainment, but hey, I'm not the one making bad decisions. Like, I may or may not have done a whole line of, like, hard fucking cocaine before I came here, but, like, you know, I also didn't choose to watch a shit poster, like, you know, teenage boy post shit on YouTube. Let's see. Oh, yes, entertainment. So entertainment is like the Three Little Pigs. And I just pulled that out of my ass. I remember way back in 5th grade, back in elementary school, when we were preparing for the, you know, standardized tests that all American kids have to take, because, you know, W was like, no child gonna be left behind, boy. And then, like, you know, Dick Cheney shot someone in the face. And then W, like, you really valued it, he was like, maybe we're gonna leave one of them childs behind. And then the kid was like, you can keep your doctor with Obamacare. But anyway, we've already talked about politics way too much in this video. Yeah, so the reason I brought that little Three Little Pigs analogy up out of my ass is because when we were given the sample, like, responses, and we were given, like, you know, told, like, instructions, like, you know, don't do this, like, they literally used some poor little bastard's response as a prime example of what not to do. So I could just imagine the people who grade these tests are like marking it down like, oh yeah, we can send this out to the little elementary schools, tell the little shits not to be a jackass here like Timmy. Yeah, Timmy, you fucking retard. And like, I always thought that was kind of morally wrong, how you can just like use some kid's response and like more or less pick it apart. I don't know. I'm a fan of offensive humor myself, but I just think those tests are stupid. Like, they are stupid. Like, they've been proven scientifically that they don't work, but hey. Son, we don't need science here. We got guns and beer. But entertainment today, one of the biggest entertainment properties we talked about earlier in this video, is Marvel. And Captain America Civil War releases this week, and once it releases, kids, stay off the internet. Lock your doors, lock your windows, hide your pets, hide your neighbors, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your stuffed animals, hide your posters, hide your calendars, hide it all. Because the spoiler is going to be out. You're going to know exactly what happens before you go into that theater. It's going to be unavoidable, unless you want to live without the internet. And come on. No one can do that. It's what happened to me for Star Wars. It's happened to me for Batman v Superman. Now I'm not going to spoil anything from either of those movies in case you haven't seen either one. If you haven't seen the new Star Wars, you should really get on that. If you haven't seen Batman v Superman, wait till it goes for cheap to rent. And then, like, you know, get the spectacle movie out of it. But yeah, I am pumped for Civil War. Now I'm gonna give you all a quick backstory. What's up, spoiler free up until this point. I'll let you know what happened. Okay, so Captain America wanted to invade the Middle East, and Iron Man has oil holdings there. And he told Captain America, listen, Cap, just stay away from my oil holdings and, like, you know, take everybody else's shit. Captain America was like, yeah, man, sure, whatever. But when Captain America landed with his Avenger wrecking crew, he had Hawk, like, you know, the obligatory black character, and he also had, I think, oh yeah, he has the Summer Soldier, who was modeling the JCPenney Summer Swimsuit collection. So they landed in the Middle East, and they started just taking over everything. They annihilate ISIS, and they take over, like, various oil fields, but Captain America captures oil fields from Stark Industries. And that really pisses off Tony Stark, who you should probably know is Iron Man. Like, if you don't know that, you should seriously consider reevaluating your life choices. But anyway, that's not something to help you with. Go to a psychiatrist. They'll give you some nice meds, and it'll all feel better. Until it doesn't, then you need more meds. But back to our story. Tony Stark gets pissed. He's like, yo, Cap, why'd you do this? And Captain America was like, you see, Tony, I just wanted to give you the freedom to pump more oil. My presence would do that. So that, you know, starts off the initial tensions between them. And then Congress signs in the Superhero Control Reappropriations Act. And so that means every time a microtransaction is made in a Marvel video game, so Marvel Quest or Marvel Ultimate Showdown, right? The revenue that any of the Marvel heroes would get from that is actually deducted every time they, like, you know, destroy a major city in one of their fight scenes. Like, you know, Sokovia, that made up Eastern European city in Age of Ultron. You know, they decimated that shithole. Yeah, they got, like, they lost almost $100 having to pay for that themselves, and then like the European Union paid the rest because that's how the European Union works. Did you break this? No, but you're gonna clean up some of the glass. But yeah, that's a little bit of backstory and tensions between Captain America and Iron Man. And also, people are really excited for this movie because Spider-Man's gonna be in it. And if you don't know Spider-Man's backstory, you see Peter Parker was a young teenager in New York when he was bit by a radioactive Line 6 spider ant while he was playing guitar. Tony was just sitting there, like, strumming some of the notes from Cowboys from Hell by Pantera. Like, the amp jumped up, it was so fucking metal, like, the metal brought the amp to life, it bit Peter, and then he had this great, gruesome transformation, and he basically became a metalhead who could, like, swing from walls and shit. It was pretty crazy. Like, he fights all these villains, like, Dr. Autotune, and, the Pop Goblin. Yeah, it's a really good comic series, you should watch it. Yeah, as I said, you should watch the comic series, like, not read it, just watch it. Your eyes will tell you the truth. But yeah, he's in this movie, and then Marvel was somehow able to pry the rights away from Sony or Japanese overlords to put Spider-Man in the movie, so people are really excited about that. And also, Black Widow is going to be in this movie, but we still don't know if she's useful or if she actually does anything useful at all. Or what her true character purpose serves. Like, I know she's probably going to do something cool in, like, one of the later movies, like Infinity War. But if you remember, if you go back and watch the New York Manhattan battle scene from the end of the first Avengers movie, like, Hulk is fighting 5 guys at once, he's fighting one of the huge alien things, he's holding the damn line, Thor's going around, he's taking out key strategic targets, Captain America's getting the civilians out, Tony Stark's calculating the plan, Hawkeye's taking over fuckers out. Black Widow literally just sits on, like, a broken building for a good 10 minutes while the others are doing all the work, and then she, like, just sees the scepter, goes over to it, and takes it out, and she's like, "Yay, guys, I did it!" They're like, "Okay, Black Widow, stop by after and show your participation trophy." You and Ant-Man, you get your Avengers participation trophy. It's great. It's really going around. James Harrison's kids got one of those. He was like, "No, you're gonna work for these, boy." But yeah, that movie is projected to make a lot of money domestically. It made a lot of money overseas. It brought some jobs back from China and Mexico, which is really good because those fuckers take our jobs. So yeah, I'm really hyped for that whole storyline. I'm a bit disappointed that my favorite hero, Hulk, isn't in the movie, but I guess Hulk smashed too many people. It wasn't appropriate for kids. Like, sex education is still a big point of contention in this country. Do we teach them about a non-smashing, abstinence-only program? Do we teach them about safe smashing? So, I don't know. I remember when I was a kid and I had sex ed, we had Nigel Thornberry come in. It was very smash-heavy, so I guess I'm more prepared for today's youth. Alright, and that's pretty much going to bring us to the conclusion of today's video. And I just want to give a quick announcement that I segued into beautifully. I'm going to be starting a playthrough of Marvel Heroes 2016. I'm going to be playing some Punisher. Punisher. I'm going to take him out. I'm really excited for it. And for some gameplay content of that coming your way quite soon. And without further ado, it's my last 10 seconds, my last 15 minutes of game. And I just want to say, everything. Nah, I just went back to middle school. Peace.